viewers from everywhere you are viewing. I'm glad again that we can go on this journey of reading of this book together. Today I will begin the portion that talks about the Dantian. I will go through some of the dialogues and a few explanations over it. So the first one is Dialogue of Golden Elixir, and it says, brain is upper elixir field called Shang Dang Tian. Daxin, which is the heart, is the middle elixir field called Zong Dan Tian. And Qihai is the lower elixir field called Xia Dan Tian. If one is able to turn around the situation through catching the pivotal function of the deepest handle, then the circulation between the top, that is the upper dantian, and the bottom, that is the lower dantian, will be just like the circulation of the heavenly river. The author has this to say concerning this, that in the Chinese Qigong society, the exact positions of the three dantians are often confusing and controversial. But as explained in chapter 2, Dan means elixir and Tian means field. Therefore, Dan Tian means the place in the body where the elixir can be grown or stored. Elixir implies the key which is able to offer us health and longevity. Generally speaking, there are three recognized dantians, which are the upper dantian, the middle dantian, and the lower dantian. The lower dantian can again be subdivided into false lower dantian and real lower dantian. The authors of most of the documents believe that the upper dantian is located at the central point between the two eyebrows and about 3 inches directly inward. In the document titled Embracing Simplicity, it is noted that the space between the two eyebrows, 1 inch inward, is Ming Tang, 2 inches inward is Dong Fang, and 3 inches inward is Shang Dan Tian, which is the upper dantian. This is the center of the brain at the bottom of the spiritual valley we call Sheng Gu. It is where the pineal and pituitary glands are located. These two glands are called Ni Wan or mud pills, and this central area of the brain is called Ni Wan Gong, which means mud pill palace in the Taoist society. From this center, the unlimited key can be produced. In fact, as known today, due to the hormone production in the pineal and pituitary glands, the body's biochemical reaction and metabolism can be smoothly carried out, and the key in the body can be abundant, with the spirit of vitality, which is called Jing Shen. And the spirit of vitality can be raised up to a higher level. Some others believe the entire brain is the upper dantian. The valley we talk about, which is the spiritual valley or valley spirit, is a valley that acts as an energy chamber that allows our thinking to vibrate and resonate with the surrounding energy, and thus we communicate with other natural spirits. The front end of the valley is the heaven eye Tian Yan or heaven gate Tian Men, and is what the Western world calls the third eye. It is believed that we humans had this third eye just as other animals do, and it was opened for us to communicate with other spirits through telepathy a long time ago. Later, when we learned how to lie cheat, and play tricks on each other in order to hide our secrets behind the mask, we closed it down and stopped the brain communicating directly through telepathy. That's amazing. Alright, so according to Buddhist and Taoist societies, when the third eye is reopened, we will be enlightened and suddenly comprehend the meaning of life and nature. Naturally, we will then resume our capability of telepathy and be able to read other people's minds. When this happens, we must retire to the mountains and keep away from the masked human society. Finding a secluded place. And in order to reach this spiritual enlightenment, we must learn how to build up abundant ki in the real lower dantian and then lead it upward through the thrusting vessel, which is Chongmai, our spine, which is the spinal cord, to nourish the brain. When the brain has been energized to a higher level, the third eye will be reopened. Okay. Because we are hoping to round up everything at the end of this month, I will skip some of the things to move faster. Okay, so now let's see another quotation. The quotation here is under observing vessels. Observing vessels. It says, Dantian is the root of life. This is the reason why those Taoists who ponder and meditate for their spiritual and Buddhists who meditate for their Buddhahood all gather the real key, the original key, under the navel. This is a spiritual Totsu Shengui, which we mentioned last week in the Dantian, who inhales and exhales the real key, which is called Zen Ki. This respiration is not the breathing through the mouth and nose. The mouth and the nose are only the doors for respiration. Dantian is the origin of Ki and is the place for those holy men, the enlightened people, to begin their cultivation. This is the place where they keep and store the real singularity, the Zenji. Therefore, it is called embryonic breathing. So, meditation itself is called the Zuo or Zuo Chan. It does not matter whether those who meditate are Taoist or Buddhist. When they meditate, all who try to meditate will learn how to keep the mind inside the body. Okay? The real one means the central key system that is constituted by the two polarities. One, the yang pole at the real lower dantian that provides a quantity of ki, and then the yin pole at the upper dantian which controls the quality of the ki's manifestation, that is the quality of life. Physically, there are two polarities. However, in function, there is only one, since these two polarities are the yin and yang of the same thing, of the real one. So if we are able to keep our mind in this real singularity, we will be able to raise up our spirit of vitality and also establish an abundant storage of ki. The next one is from the Classic of Difficulties, 66th difficulty, and it says, the site between or the place under the navel and between the kidneys where the ki is initiated is the life of a human and the origin of ki in the 12 primary ki channels. Jing, which is Yang, Sun Kao explained, the site between the place under the navel and between the kidneys is Dantian, and Dantian is the root and foundation of a human. From this document, it is believed that the Dantian is below the navel, and that means the abdominal area. However, it is also between the kidneys. Here, we should know that the Chinese define kidneys as internal kidneys, Nei Shen, and also as external kidneys, Wai Shen. Internal kidneys are the same kidneys as defined by the Western medicine. However, the external kidneys means testicles or ovaries. All of these places are capable of producing original essence, typified by the hormones. Now, the real lower dantian being talked about here is considered to be the second brain located in the intestines. This place is able to store ki or bioelectricity to an abundant level and can be considered to be the biobattery in the human body. And this place is the root of human physical and spiritual life. Next is from the muscle tendon changing classic in the appendix, and it says Wang Ting, the place which the immortals used to form the elixir. Wang Ting classic said, underneath the heart, above or in the front of the kidneys, spleen on the left and liver on the right, the life door Sheng Men is in the front. The closed door Mihu is in the rear. They are connected like a ring. They are connected like a ring. It is wide like cotton with an inch diameter. It encloses the essence and the refinement of the entire body. This place is opposite the navel and is the root of a human life. Here, Wang Ting, referred to as yellow yard, is also called. Okay, so this Wang Ting, otherwise called the yellow yard, or the Zhu Wan Sui, or that is the jade ring cavity. This name jade ring is first used in the book Illustration of the Brass Man Acupuncture and Moxibuction by Dr. Wang Weiji. The Taoist book Wang Lushiyu said in the illustration of the Brass Man Acupuncture and Moxibuction, it was recorded that within the body's cavities of visceral and bowels there is a jade ring. But according to him, I do not know what the jade ring is. Later, the Taoist Zhang Xiyang explained the place which the immortals used to form the elixir as the earth is on the top, the kidneys are underneath, spleen is on the left, and the liver is on the right. The life door is in the front, the concealed door is in the rear. They are connected like a ring. It is white like cotton with an inch diameter. It encloses the essence and the refinement of the entire body. This is the jade ring. Sheng Men talks about the life door, which is the navel that allows a fetus to absorb the supplies for its life. Mi Hu, which is a concealed door, implies the Mingmen GV4 cavity located between the L2 and L3 vertebrae. Okay, the Mingmen between the L2 and L3 vertebrae is said, according to the classic of Wang Ting's external scene, that above Mingmen there are two esoteric marvelous apertures. Left is Swan and right is Pin, which are the two internal kidneys. There is an empty place between that is named Wang Ting. From this we can see that Wang Ting actually is the second brain where the gods are. This place is called the real lower dantian, or the biobattery of a human body. This place is able to store the key of bioelectricity to an abundant level. So the lives door is like when we trace the navel from the front and we trace it to the back on the spine between the L2 and L3 vertebrae. That is the lives door. So next we have a quote from the complete book of Principal Contents of Human Life and Temperament about the large and small tripod and furnace. It says, Wang Ting is the tripod. Qi Sui, that is key cavity, is the furnace. Wang Ting is just on the top of the Qi Sui, mutually connected with numerous luo, that is secondary key channels, and is the meeting place of hundreds of key vessels and channels in the human body. Original ki is dense between these two cavities, between the Wanting and Kiswe, and is called the small tripod furnace. If the position of Kian is the tripod and the position of Kun is furnace, then it means that Ni1, upper dantian, or the brain, is a tripod, and the lower real dantian is the furnace. This is called the big tripod furnace. Chinese Taoists liked to think of the training of longevity cultivation as the method of purifying elixir in the tripod above the furnace. Elixir implies the ki circulating in the body. When it is cultivated and manifested correctly, we can obtain health, longevity, and even spiritual enlightenment. Through thousands of years, Taoists continued their search for the tripod and furnace to be able to accumulate the herb inside the tripod and then purify it through cultivation. They identified the two most important places and called them small tripod furnace and big tripod furnace. So let's move on to the next. Is from the testimonial thesis of golden immortality. It says, those who wish to pick up the herb, that is ki, and transport it or circulate it in the cyclic heaven, the small and grand circulation, should start the fire from ki cavity Kun furnace, that is the lower dantian. Ki cavity Kun furnace. Okay, now they ascend it to the Kian head as the tripod and descend it to the abdomen as the furnace. This is what the ancient people said about using Kian and Kun as a tripod tool. When there is a rise and fall of the Shen and Ki, then the Ki is existing in tripod. Note, Kian is at the top and is a tripod, while Kun is at the bottom and thus the furnace. Whenever there is a Shen and Ki, then there is a furnace and tripod. If there is no Shen and Ki, then there is no furnace or tripod. In the big tripod furnace, the head or the upper dantian, which is located at the Kian position of the human trigram according to Bagua, is a tripod, while the lower dantian area, which includes the real lower dantian, located at the Kun position of the human trigram, is the furnace. The lower dantian provides the quantity of the ki, while the upper dantian, through meditative cultivation, refines the elixir and enables the ki manifestation to reach a higher level of efficiency. Okay, now ki is commonly thought of as herb, jiao, or elixir, and traditionally the Taoists were searching for the way of longevity through the purification and refinement of herbs and called it Dan, elixir. Later they realized that the elixir was actually concealed in the body and was the ki circulation or circulating in the body. Alright, so to reach this goal, we must understand that the lower dantian provides the quantity of the ki, while the upper dantian, through Shen, controls the quality of the ki manifestation that affects the quality of our spiritual and physical lives. Therefore, in order to reach a high level of achievement of immortality cultivation, Shen and Ki must be unified and harmonized with each other. This is what we have talked about before as the unification and harmonization of Shen and Ki in Qigong practice. Theoretically, in order to reach the goal of longevity and enlightenment, we must have a strong, healthy physical life and a high level of spirit, of morale, of motivation. The way to achieve healthy physical life is through the small cyclic heaven, that is the muscle tendon changing Qigong meditation practice. The method of reaching spiritual enlightenment is from spiritual grand cyclic heaven meditation, which is the marrow brainwashing Qigong. If we are interested, let us get this book, Qigong, The Secret of Youth, published by YMAA. We move to the next session very quickly, and the first quotation from this session is under Tao Te Ching, chapter 5, and it says, Heaven and earth, that is nature, does not have benevolence. Therefore, all millions of objects, lives, thoughts, ideas are treated just like Chugo. Those holy men do not have benevolence. Therefore, the populace are treated also as Chugo. Between the heaven and earth, is it just like the Tuojue? Empty but cannot be bent. That is, resources cannot be exhausted. The more it moves, the more it produces. So, if we talk too much about it, then it will be often limited. That is, parted from the Tao, parted from the nature, separated from nature. Therefore, it is better if we keep ourselves at the center by doing neutral thinking. The author here says, nature does not have emotions such as love, glory, happiness, or sadness. Even though millions of objects living in this nature itself are full of emotions and limited life, to nature, they are just like sacrificial offering. Chugou were sacrificial dogs that were made from straw and used for ceremonies of worship in ancient China. Now, the holy men cultivated their emotional minds to the neutral state, therefore, they were not touched by any emotional disturbances from layman society. All events are only part of the natural occurrences. The space between the heaven and the earth is just like Tuojue. Tuojue is the bellows that was used to assist in air circulation in ancient times. This implies that through the natural key circulation, millions of lives or objects are living within and relying on it to survive. Though it is empty, the blow of the air can never be exhausted. The more you act, the more the flow of the air will be generated. All of these principles are the natural rules and the Tao of nature. The more we talk about it, the farther it is separated from nature itself. Therefore, we should think about it and comprehend it within our natural instinct. In this case, we will be able to feel it and understand it, appreciate it from our hearts. From the Qigong point of view, the head is considered as heaven, Qian, while the abdominal area is considered as earth, Kun. The space between is where the lungs are located, which is just the space of the natural heaven and earth, and in this space, the Qi, Kong Qi, air, circulates and keep millions of cells alive. The mind, or the Shen, is the motive force that makes the internal key, our bioelectricity, move or stop. The mind drives our key as intention drives impulses to cause action on the station. Alright, so the more the mind acts, the more the key circulation is excited and out of control. Therefore, in order to calm down the body and keep the key at its residence, we must keep our mind centered at a neutral state. When this happens, there is no emotional disturbance no matter what happens around us. We keep our center, we keep grounded, and our mind is not moved away from this center. The next talks about the question from a Buddhist guest about listening to the heart. Here we go quickly. Expanding the bellows means to regulate the real breathing. When exhaling, then the air exits, and when inhaling, the air enters. When exiting, Then it is like the earth's keys ascending, and when entering, it is like the heaven's keys descending. This is the same as the heaven and the earth. Therefore, isn't the space between the heaven and the earth just like the wind billows? As mentioned, tuoje means the bellows that was used to assist the air circulation in ancient times. Breathing is considered a strategy in Qigong practice, which is able to make the qi circulate smoothly in the body. The lungs are considered as the air bellows, while the lower dantian is considered the qi bellows. When the air is taken in by the lungs, the qi is sunken to the lower dantian like the qi descending in nature. When the air is expelled by the lungs, the qi in the lower dantian is rising up and being distributed to the body like the qi ascending in nature. The human body is a small microcosm of heaven and earth. The tricky key to taking in the air and expelling it is the nose, while the position of the qi bellows in the lower dantian is at the huijin, that is the perineum. Once you know how to regulate your breathing to a natural way, that is regulating without regulating, it is called the real breathing. Let's take three more before we close for today. The next will be from an essay about regulating the breathing, the complete book of Zhu Si from the Song Dynasty. It says, the tip of the nose as white, I observe it. That is, I pay attention to it all the time and all the places. Allow it soft, gentle, and pliant. When calmness has reached its extremity, it eases like a spring fish in the pond. When action has reached its extremity, it is harmonized like 100 insects' torpidity, open and close harmoniously, and its marvelousness is unlimited. What else is able to preside? It is achieved from not presiding. The clouds lying in the sky and the heaven, that is nature, cycling as it is. Who dares to question it? Keeping in one place harmoniously, then we are able to live 1,200 years. The white at the tip of the nose means the hair. Then the author here say, I should always pay attention to how I breathe, to be able to regulate it until it becomes soft, gentle, and pliant. When I am extremely calm, that is when I inhale to a profound level, then I exhale like a fish in the springtime. When I am extremely active, that is, I exhale to an efficient level, then I retain it calmly and harmoniously like insect stupidity or dormancy. If I am able to breathe this way harmoniously, what else can I improve? All of the success depends on regulating without regulating. Once I have reached this state, it is like the clouds in the sky and nature repeating its cycles. Who else dares to say I am wrong? When I am in this state, I am able to keep my mind at the real lower dantian harmoniously. In this case, there is nothing strange in being able to live 1,200 years. This clearly implies that in order to obtain longevity, we must learn two important things. One, we first regulate our breathing until no regulating is necessary. Two, we must keep our mind at the real lower dantian so the key can be kept at its residence, which is embryonic breathing. Number four, this is regulating the breathing from original truth of using no herbs during Qing dynasty. It says, the method of regulating the breathing has been thoroughly studied by three educational groups, that is Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. When reaching the great achievement, it is able to enter the Tao, and when reaching the small achievement, it is able to preserve health. Therefore, Sanskrit documents, that is, Buddhist records from India, teach us to use the eyes to look at the nose tip, count the breaths in and out internally. This is the beginning practice of stopping vision, that is, Zi Guan, attraction by sight, stopping the attraction by sight. Zhuangzi, in his book Nan Hua Jing, said, a sage will breathe through the souls. A sage will breathe through the souls. Great Yi, that is Yi Jing, which is the book of change, explains in its triagram, which stated, when getting dark, men enter Yang Si, that is meditation or profound breathing. Wang Longxi said, the ancient sages had deep breathing without sleeping. Therefore, it is said, when getting dark, they enter the Yangtze. The mention of Yangtze is when it is getting dark. The ears do not hear, the eyes do not see, the four limbs are not moving, and the heart, which is emotional mind, does not have thinking or worry. It is just like a seed fire. The pre-heaven's original Shen and original Ki gather to nourish each other mutually. The real Yi is soft as cotton, open and closed naturally, which is the self-being now exists in the same body, within the space or dimension, as insubstantial emptiness. Therefore, it is able to live as long as insubstantial emptiness. Those would those world people or laymen are bothered with daily management. The spirit is burned and tired. It depends on the single night's sleep to be able to be used during the day. A point of spiritual light or self-subconscious spiritual being, all covered by the post's heaven's dirty key. This is a yang. This is the yang falls into the yin. The techniques of regulating the breathing in Qigong practice have been popularly studied and practiced in three major philosophic schools of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. Breathing is considered to be the strategy of Qigong practice. So if we practice correctly, we may gain good health and longevity. Through correct breathing practice, the Qi can be stored and led up to the brain to nourish the Shen for enlightenment. Entering the Tao means to enter the path of searching for the truth. And now, those who have comprehended the truth of nature are called truthful persons. Let's take the last one. The last one also talks about the necessity of stopping the vision. That is, keeping the eyes single, using the eyes to look at the nose tip. It does not mean that physically we are using our eyes to look at the nose. It only means that we bring in our attention from the outside attraction to concentrate on our breathing. That the nose was referred to there. So lastly, from the method of regulating the breathing, according to original truth of using no herbs, Qing Dynasty, the method of breathing the breathing is, do not be restricted by the timing. Sit anywhere and anytime you wish. The body is balanced and upright, and allow it to be comfortable and natural. Do not lean and curve forward, that is, bowing forward. Take off the clothes and ease the belt to make sure the body is regulated properly. Circle the tongue in the mouth several times. Gently and slowly release the dirty air from the lungs, and then gently and slowly take in the air from the nose. Repeat 3 to 5 times or 1 to 2 times. When there is saliva generated, swallow it. After biting the teeth for a few times, the tongue touches the palate of the mouth. The lip and the teeth are closed. Two eyes are closed like the new moon. Then gradually begin regulating the breathing. Do not pant. Do not be coarse. Either count the exhalation or inhalation from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100. Restrain your mind in counting and do not be disordered. If the mind and the breathing have harmonized with each other mutually and the random thoughts are generated no more, then stop counting and allow it to be natural. The longer you are able to sit, the more marvelous it will be. If you wish to raise up the body, you must slowly and comfortably extend your arms and legs. You should not raise up suddenly. If you are able to practice this intelligently, the various sceneries appearing in the calmness are peculiar. This is able to direct you to the path of enlightening your mind and comprehending the Tao. It is not just for preserving health and extending life. From this same source as the last one, is another paragraph that describes the method of regulating the breathing. From here, we can see that there are many methods of regulating the breathing, though the principles and the theory remain the same. These principles and theory are keeping the body relaxed, that is to regulate the body, keeping our mind calm and profound, that is regulating the mind, and breathing softly, deeply, and naturally, that is regulating the breathing. In order to regulate our breathing to a profound level, we must also regulate our body and mind. They must harmonize and coordinate with each other. The key to regulating the breathing is not to hold it, but to regulate it until it can be natural, smooth, and slender. Remember, regulating without regulating. So, thank you, one and all, again, and I hope you will find this recording enjoyable. Let us keep practicing breathing to live a vital life. Breathing to live a vital life. So once again, to your health, to your wealth, to your sanity, to your clarity, to your vitality, and to longevity. Stay happy, stay safe. Thank you. See you next week, Tuesday. Bye.